2.2 from IGCSE Business Studies, and really popular topic in most things. It's got the functions of management and then the advantages and disadvantages of delegation. The functions of management, it lists it in most syllabuses, and this is based on Henry Fayol, but we don't need to know that at GCSE. But he talked about planning, organising, coordinating, commanding and controlling. We're going to run through what that means really quickly and then go into that big important one, the advantages and disadvantages of delegation. As ever, silly stories. If you've got any questions, if you're not sure, put it in the comments below and I'll make another video to try and help out. Right, silly story. When we're talking about the role of managers, think of it about your teacher, because essentially your teacher is like your manager. And each of your teachers, they're going to have strengths and they're going to have weaknesses. It's very unlikely you've got a teacher who is the perfect teacher, the perfect manager. And if we break it down, if we look at it from Fayol's point of view, we can break it down into the different tasks they have. And then you can maybe identify that teacher who you think is not very good. What is it particularly, that's quite interesting, what is it that they're not very good at? Maybe even the good teachers, what are they good at? So let's have a look. So the first thing a manager and your teacher has to do is they have to plan. Think of your teacher that teaches really good lessons, but then the IGCSE comes around and they go, oh, sorry, we didn't do Unit 5 and 6, they didn't complete it. Well, you wouldn't think they were a good teacher. That's a disaster. But a good teacher doesn't luck upon finishing just at the right week. They have to have had a plan, a scheme of work. So that is one of the roles of a manager, is to plan, to make sure that you're meeting and setting objectives at the right point in time to deliver the goals. The next thing a teacher has to do is they have to be organised. Imagine that teacher, there's one in every school, whose desk is just a disaster and you hand in the homework and then they say, no, you didn't give it to me. I know you use that as an excuse a lot, but I'm sure there are some teachers who genuinely lose that work. And we'd say, well, yeah, he's a good teacher, or she, but not very organised. Well, a good manager, a perfect manager, would be organised. So that's another role of a manager. The next thing, the most obvious thing you expect of a teacher, is commanding, standing at the front, sometimes shouting, but most of the time giving instructions. You would want your teacher hopefully to be a good speaker, and that is commanding. Managers in offices need to do the same. They have to command. Then we've got coordinating. Managers need to coordinate between different sections, with the finance section, with the marketing section maybe. But teachers need to do the same thing. You know, when you complain because the maths test is on the same day as the business test and chemistry, and you can complain about that, and you say, well, the teachers really, they should have organised it so it wasn't all on the same day. You could say the teachers should have coordinated better. Another role, Fayol says, of a manager. Finally, controlling. Yeah, the worst bit of being a teacher, I'm afraid. It's pretty boring. But it's a teacher's job and a manager's job, not just to set the task, but to check that the task has been done. And teachers have to do that. They set you the homework, and then it's their job to sit down and mark that homework to understand, have you understood? And if they haven't understood, you haven't understood, they have to set it again. So they are the IGCSE talk of what managers need to do. It's a big old topic. If you go to A-level, look at other things, and some people dispute this and put more into it, but they are the base. They've stuck around a long time. The 5 things that managers need to do. Now on to that popular topic of delegation and the advantages and disadvantages of it. So we got the definition. Delegation means giving a subordinate the authority to perform a particular task. Now I can do that in my school. If we think about this as an example, I can get my year 11s, the ones that have already done their first year of IGCSE business, and I can choose someone in that class and I say, right, next week, you are going to be teaching my year 10 class. So I pick one of my good children and I say, that's it, I'm not going to be in the room. You over the weekend are going to plan this lesson. You're going to teach a section of Unit 1 to those children. Now, if we think about that, what are the advantages and disadvantages of doing that? Again, when we say advantages and disadvantages though, be aware of those questions. Are they saying advantages and disadvantages generally, or are they looking at a particular stakeholder? What's the advantage to the manager? What's the advantage to the business? I'm not going to deal with it too much, but always keep it in mind. So what's the advantage to the manager, first of all? Well, hopefully you can think and not just have to read this. Well, it saves time. In my picture, you can see that I've got the teacher sitting in his office while this poor year 10 teaches it. So it saves time, and therefore the manager can get on perhaps with more complicated tasks. The other thing, what's the advantage? Well, it empowers and develops staff. That year 10 who teaches my lesson, they're going to have a really good understanding of the topic they taught. There's no better way to learn something than to teach it. So it really progresses the skills of that year 10. So you could argue that's a benefit to the business or to the actual employee, to the year 10. Third advantage is it can motivate employees. Maslow would say this would fit esteem needs. Some people really want the chance to shine. Think about it. If your teacher said it, you go home and tell your mum, hey, I'm going to teach the year 10s. That could really boost motivation. But it's not without its disadvantages. Let's have a look at those. So the disadvantages of delegation, well, I love this phrase, you can delegate the task but not the responsibility. If we think about that, what does it mean? Well, okay, let's say that year 10 teaches my lesson and teaches it completely wrong, and the parents are really angry, they phone up, and my headmaster says, why did you teach this section wrong? Can I go, it wasn't my fault, it was Johnny in year 10. They're going to go, what do you mean? You're responsible for teaching the children. So I can delegate the task, but not the responsibility. And this can actually, therefore, put pressure on the manager. It's actually an experience. You might think, well, what a lazy manager to delegate. But actually, you've got to be pretty confident in yourself to trust someone with something you're responsible for. So it can increase pressure. The other thing, where I've missed the I in red there, I can see, but inconsistent results. You could argue that that year 10 is not very experienced. They might do a good job because they put loads of effort, but they might do a terrible job. So for the business, that could be a disadvantage. For the customer, that could be a disadvantage because they might do a bad job. And thirdly, finally for this, although there are loads more if you think about it, but thirdly, demotivation. Perhaps you think, you cheeky teacher, why am I doing your job? It's your job to teach the year 10s. You did it last week, and now I've got to do it again. You're just trying to hand off all your work, and that could lead to demotivation. There we go. Quick run through of those things. As I said at the start, likes, comments, if you've got any questions, happy to explain it in a little bit more detail. Hope it helps.